Hey everybody, we are back, we are working, we're feeling pretty good. Chapter 2, Making Friends. Maybe I should make this a little bigger so everybody can see a little better. What do you guys think? Maybe a little bit? I used to know how to make it bigger. There we go. Zoom. Let's try 150. Yeah, now it's nice and big for everybody. All right, chapter 2, Making Friends. A tall, dumb-looking guy in his late 40s walked into my cell. Hi, I'm Chuck. I was so angry I grunted more than spoke. Bottom bunk, left cubby, and bottom desk cubby are yours. Oh, okay, thanks. He mumbled over. There we go. That's better. Much better. Oh, okay, thanks. He mumbled over and put his things down. He bumbled over and put his things down. How long will you be in my cell for? I asked, full of annoyance. Not long, just stopping here on my way to prison. Lucky you. I know, prison is so much better than here. For one, you aren't locked in a cell all day. You can take college classes, get a job, a hobby, or go run around and play games outside. Plus, the commissary has real food. I was done talking to Mr. Prison is so awesome. I sat on my bunk and silently read until our timeout. Without a word, I took a shower and then joined my usual group. The four of us had our same table every day and always controlled the TV. I flipped through the channels until I found a sci-fi movie I enjoyed and turned the remote upside down. Our signal that we liked what's on and not to change it. Between the four of us, our group always controlled the TV. We'd recently switched to from rummy to playing spades, and food items were always on the line. I liked gambling. It added a fun risk factor to the game. It's also easy to like gambling when you win more than you lose. In jail, people took all kinds of risks to push back against the mundane existence that is closed custody. That was closed custody. In jail, people took all kinds of risks to push back against the mundane existence that was closed custody. It's also easy to like gambling when you win more than you lose. Red was dealing. So how's the new roomie? I gave a sigh. Better than Ron. Jackson gave a snort. Anyone's better than Ron. I can't believe they didn't send him to A. The A that Jackson was referring to was the mental pod. The pod where they took people who had mental problems or required special attention. It seemed to me that a good chunk of people in the normal pods needed to be sent to A, or at least be given some medication. What really blew my mind was how many loud-mouthed, emotional, unstable men who were constantly dancing and flailing around all the time weren't on any medication at all. LeBron gave a low whistle at his cards. Hey, Jackson snapped. No table talk. That's not table talk, LeBron snapped back. I don't know, said Jackson. Trevor seems pretty lucky. For all I know, you and him have all kinds of little signals to each other. Of course we did. Spades is a cutthroat game, but our signals were a subtle foot touch under the table, a raise of the brow, or a not-so-subtle slap of the cards. So when are you getting out of here, Trevor? Asked Red. Doesn't look like I am. Red gave me a look. How high's your bail? $400,000. They all looked at me in awe, so I relayed what happened and what my attorney had said. Whoa, laughed Jackson. Crazy, that gives you the highest bail. Does my chin look fat on here? Like I've got a double chin? Whoa. Because I don't. You know that, right? I've got a pretty strong jaw most of the time. They all looked at me in awe, so I relayed what happened and what my attorney had said. Whoa, laughed Jackson. Crazy. That gives you the highest bail in here, other than the murderers who don't have bail. I was shocked. Really? Yep, said LeBron. That's insane. Well, said Red, that gives you a new name, Big 400. And so it was that my gangster name was officially Big 400. Soon LeBron had double set our opponents and won. Soon LeBron and I had double set our opponents and won ourselves some sandwiches, which, along with the mustard that came with them, was a high stakes gamble. Damn it, fuck you both. Fuck was a word Jackson used often, along with the rest of the table. The way we used it, it was a term of endearment. You want to fuck me? Asked LeBron. That's super gay. He pointed at Jackson. You gay. Uh-huh, said an annoyed Jackson. Red gave a smile. It's okay. Even though I'm straight, I still like gay people. I gave a laugh. Red, you're about as straight as a rainbow. That got a chuckle. Hey, interrupted Red. If you've never tried to suck a dick, how do you know you're not homo? We all stared in silence, waiting for Red's punchline. See, I've tried. I know I'm not gay. You, any one of you, might be a homosexual and not even know it. We laughed and pretended like he was joking, but deep down, in my heart, I knew he'd actually tried to suck a cock. Which was amazing because his wife wasn't ugly. One day, coming down the stairs at just the right moment, I sat them on a video visit as she pulled down her blouse, exposing her large tits. Note, a good jailhouse video visit always involves breasts. To keep your boob viewing moments from others' eyes, simply stand... Note, a good jailhouse video visit always involved breasts. To keep our... Note, a good jailhouse video visit always involved breasts. To keep our boob viewing moments from others' eyes, we simply stood... We simply stood during the video visit. Everyone might have known Everyone might know you're seeing tatas, but your body will keep the view limited to just yourself. Keeping the gay jokes going, I asked, does everyone know how homosexuals have sex? I got nods around the table. Well, which one goes to hell first? The one who gives or the one who takes? This brought me expectant stares. The one who takes. His shit's already packed. That won me some laughs. For the moment, For the amount of gay jokes we told, we had few homosexuals in our pod. Most sexual acts were committed by straight men who tried to bend a little after endless months of sexual frustration. Then there was B. Hi, Mr. Big, he said in his nice but too high voice. You got any extra bread? I slid him out a rock-solid roll, and he slid under 4 juice packets. A decent trade. Thanks. No problem, I replied as he walked away. No problem, I replied as he walked away. I'd recently started being more social, talking to people through my door and vent. I figured out that only trading food or items with people in my group was very limiting. Besides, some people were so glad to have a non-strung out druggie to talk to that they'd just give you free stuff for chatting, incentive to come back and talk to them again. You also had a few inmates with imaginary gluten sensitivities, so they'd just give you their cakes or rolls. These were my favorite people. I took to reading my book against the cell door. Reading and people watching, I made myself available to those on their timeout. I have a little dick, and I need to use it, screamed a druggie at the other end of the pod. I was not available to him. People would be a lot more polite and quiet if there weren't doors separating us. Another reason I wanted to make friends. If I was going to be stuck in here, I wanted to have friends in every cell group, so I could affect anybody. Hey, Big 400. Hey, Big 400. It was Luke coming to visit. Luke was what everyone called a house mouse, a cute nickname for a porter. They were basically inmates that cleaned the pod and helped pass out trays of food in exchange for an extra sandwich at night and double trays on weekends. You need to be friends with the house mouse. You needed to be friends with the house mouses because they're the ones out of their cells during the meals. So they're the only ones who can set up trades and pass food while it's still warm. Also, getting extra food, they have more to trade and give away. My pod had 2 house mouses, and Luke was my favorite. How's the new roommate? I turned to see Chuck, sitting at the desk working on something. He's better than Ron. Luke gave a laugh. Well, yeah. You know him and I used to be cellies? Really? Yep. In this very cell, actually. I was with him for almost a month. Then he called me a homo-ass fudge packer and I lost it. I got in a couple good hits before he put me in a headlock and pounded his fist into my face. Dang, I said, a little impressed with Luke. He was a tall, skinny guy, not someone you'd peg as a fighter. He went on, yeah. Then I got away from his headlock and pressed the intercom button for the COs to separate us. After that, they moved me to my new group. They couldn't move Ron because the black guys in the other group would have kicked his ass after he yelled the N-word at them. He only used the N-word because he knew they couldn't get to him through the door. Another reason we should all be out together and not separated like this. Wouldn't have any of these disrespectful door warriors, I replied. You got that right. Man, I miss this house though. Best view of the clock and the TV. I was in here for nearly 6 months. That gave me a thought. Hey Luke, you wouldn't happen to know anything about a bunch of artistic dicks, would you? That brought a big smile to his face. You like them? That was you? Yep. Why? Why do we do anything in this jungle of monotony? True and utter freedom. Did you erase them? I gave a smile of my own. No, I actually added a few of my own, hairy ball sacks included. See? So you get it. Yeah, I guess I do. As Luke left, I turned to see Chuck on the stool facing me. You want to play chess? Chess? I asked, coming closer. On the desk, drawn on 2 pieces of paper, was a perfect chessboard. He'd used the empty legal pad as a straight edge to get the lines perfect. On little ripped squares of paper was drawn the symbol for every chess piece. I couldn't believe it. Sure, I'd love to play. We must have played a dozen games that day. He was good, too. I lost almost as many times as I won. Soon we were telling stories like old friends. I found out he was in the Navy and a regular hunter. And there it was, this giant hare with its fuzzy fur and long ears straight up, just staring at us. I swear, right on the road in front of our Jeep. So my friend jumped out of the Jeep and popped it with his .22. Well, we're all excited. He jumps out and grabs it, and we drive off. Now he didn't know how to skin it, so I talked him through it, and soon it's skinned and ready to cook. But as soon as he'd finished skinning it, he broke out in hives all over and couldn't breathe. Turns out he was allergic to hair and never knew it. Well, We drove like hell to the closest hospital, but we were just too far away, and he died before we got there. Doctor said he just got too personal with the skinning to give him much time. That fuzzy little bastard had his revenge on my buddy from beyond little rodent hell. I was silent for a moment. Geez, that's terrible. I know. That's the hunting story you decided to tell me? He stared at the chessboard, having just lost. You'd have rather heard about the time I shat on a bear? Well, yeah. Okay, so I was up in this tree for hours, like you are while hunting. Suddenly, I had to go real bad. I didn't want to climb all the way back down the tree, but I also didn't want to shit right where I'd smell it. It was a pretty big tree, so I climbed over the other side and pulled my pants down to do my business. Well, as I'm squatting, I hear a loud roar and snort. I look down to see this bear with his front legs on the tree, looking like he's going to climb up and join me. Well, I started scrambling up as best I could with my pants around my ankles. I gave a little yelp just as warmth left my ass. That bear literally scared the shit out of me. Well, I looked down again just in time to see my hot liquid surprise hit the bear right in the face. It freaked out, shaking his head, and to my relief, ran away. I'm not able to talk today. Water. I looked at him in awe. True story. He went on. Bear might shit in the woods, but I shit on a bear. Also in the woods. I decided maybe having Chuck as a cellie wouldn't be such a terrible ordeal after all. Admittedly, it was more fun than being by myself. Having someone to talk to helped to make the time fly by. Make the time fly. Other than playing chess or telling stories, my schedule stayed pretty much the same. A good cellie isn't loud or obnoxious, and does his best to give you some space, despite the small amount of space available to you both. As I was reading, Chuck sat in the desk, filling something out. Hey, Trevor, what do you want off commissary? I stared blankly. What do you mean? I mean, what do you want me to order you? A Kit Kat would be great. You got it. That's awful nice of you. Let's do awfully. That's awfully nice of you. Well, my wife and I knew this was coming for a while, so we had plenty of time to get our finances in order. Excuse me. And just like that, Chuck was my best friend. He ordered commissary all the time, and he was generous. Soon he was feeding me cookies and chips daily. Chuck even bought us new playing cards and a real chess set. If you want to make friends and get invited to the cards table, that's how to do it. Cards or card table? If you want to make quick friends and get invited to the cards table. Card table sounds better. Get invited to the card table. That's how you do it. Hey guys, this is my new cellie Chuck. He'd like to play cards with us. After a round of hellos, he was in. LeBron joined us, looking a little upset. How's my favorite Blasian, black and Asian, doing today? I asked. He gave a shrug. Every day is the same old click. Silence at the table as the realization of what just happened set in. Someone not in our group had walked over to the table, picked up the remote, and changed the channel. It was a new kid, Andy. But we all called him Autist because he went around his first few days making sure everyone knew he was autistic. The sign of a true autist. LeBron was on his feet. Change it back, Autist. My name's Andy. Well, we all call you Autist because you're handicapped. Now change the channel back, retard. I thought you guys were playing cards. We're doing both. Now give me the fucking remote. Autist set the remote down and sulked away. He should have asked before just picking up the remote, but LeBron's outburst was extreme. Emotions run high in jail. Emotions ran high in jail. Emotions run high in jail. Everyone's frustrated, angry, and depressed, unable to control their situation, the stress of awaiting their fate and few outlets available for relief. It's no wonder blow-ups happen. Jackson started shuffling. By the way, guys, watch out for the super short Irishman everyone's calling Leprechaun. Word is, he might be an undercover cop. That made me start. Why do people think that? As soon as he got here, he started asking everyone questions at the door, like he's gathering information. Very suspicious, Red added. Or maybe he's just trying to get to know who's who, I interjected. Well, said Jackson, as he finished the deal, just be on your guard and careful what you say around him. And I was when LeBron came to my cell later that day. You know, you should really start calling cells homes, Leprechaun told me. This isn't a cell, it's your house. Really? Yeah. Makes us detained folk feel more normal. Besides, to us it is our home. It's where we eat, sleep, and do what little living we can. Leprechaun and I talked for a while. He wasn't prying into me or trying to get information like I'd been warned about. My intuition told me that he was just a normal guy. We're suspicious of because he tried to meet everyone at once. My intuition told me that he was just a normal guy people were suspicious of because he tried to meet everyone at once. I liked him. He was a smart guy with good stories. He'd been in several out-of-state prisons and was knowledgeable of the justice system. So I hear they call you Big 400 because you're the head honcho around here. How do these things inflate so far from reality? Yeah, pretty much. And why 400? Because my bail is 400 grand. He looked bewildered. $400,000? I was Washington's most wanted, and mine's only $250,000. Now it's my turn to be shocked. Washington's most wanted? Oh yeah. I ran as soon as they started looking for me. I hid for a few months, got a burner, lived in motels. After a while, they tracked me to the motel. But I was following the Washington's most wanted updates and saw that they were in my hotel room going through my luggage. So without my stuff and running out of money, I made it to Reno, living in the casinos and getting money gambling and stealing from people. Then, one day, I was at the slot machine and someone put a hand on my shoulder. It was the marshals to take me away. Whoa! How do you think they found you? I think they were paying close attention to my girlfriend's Facebook and saw that there was a new account with only her as a friend. Maybe they got into her messages too. I was careful, never even activated the burner, just used it on Wi-Fi. So my guess is they tracked the new Facebook account. He was a nice guy, but I was still upset his bail was so much lower than mine, even though he ran. He even made Washington's most wanted, clearly a major flight risk. But it didn't matter. He was Mr. 250,000 and I was Big 400. Coming to the shower a few days later, I heard a commotion in the pod. I saw Red pointing and yelling at LeBron. I'm not fucking Irish. Why you gotta be such an asshole all the time? I knew from our conversations that LeBron knew MMA, but I wasn't expecting him to just start swinging. He threw a quick combo, connecting with a solid jab and rear uppercut as Red closed the distance. Red, being the big man that he was, took the punches unfazed, picking LeBron up and threw him against the wall. LeBron hit the concrete wall, then the ground, before slowly rising back to his feet. They both stared at each other for 3 Mississippis before walking away. Red sat at our table, and LeBron went to the rec yard to walk laps. Tensions run high in here, and even best friends throw hands. Tensions run high in Max, and even best friends throw hands. Hey, youngster! I looked around for the disembodied voice. Hey, youngster! Over here! I looked around for a few seconds before finally seeing an old black man with boa constrictors for arms in a single medical cell. Hey, what happened? Oh, just a little disagreement between friends. Anyone hurt? They'll be fine. He shuffled his feet back and forth like he was excited for his own words to leave his mouth. That's good, that's good. We shouldn't be fighting each other. We need to be fighting them, those racist police. His mannerisms bred entertainment. What's your name, old timer? They call me Gaucho because I'm a cowboy who speaks Spanish. A black Spanish speaking cowboy. How long have you been here for? Should Spanish be capitalized there? Should Spanish be capitalized? Generally, no matter what part of speech the term Spanish represents, should always be capitalized. Okay, good. Glad I'm not crazy. I'm gonna eat a carrot. Carrots. Ah. Very nice. Sometimes a carrot just livens you up, gets something in your stomach. They call me Gaucho because I'm a cowboy who speaks Spanish. A black Spanish speaking cowboy. How long have you been here for? Ah, youngster, I've been fighting this for a year. There were 8 police arresting me, beating me, yelling, kill that nigga. No shit. Whoa. So to survive, I ran my car into 2 of their police cars, flipped in reverse, and backed into 2 more. Damn. I played chicken with the last 2 and almost got away. But boy, they beat my ass, broke my arm too. Don't you worry, youngster. I'll be okay. Don't you worry, youngster. I'll be okay. I wasn't worried. Your arm does look bent out of shape. Yep, and I'm suing their asses. That'll really stick it to 'em. If there's one thing police can stand, if there's one thing police can't stand, it's a wealthy black man. Money is the best revenge. I took a look at his arms again. You must work out a lot. You like that? He said as he gave me a Mr. America pose. I was a flexin' champ in the 70s. Really? I decided I could only believe 3/4 of what Gaucho said, but I believed him when he said he was a flexing champ. Yep. Let me tell you a secret, youngster. Let me tell you a secret, youngster. Let's take that out. Let me tell you a secret, youngster. If you want to get big like this, he gave me another Mr. America pose, then you don't go all the way down when you do push-ups. Only do half push-ups. That'll get you looking like me and less like that diabetic pig. For an easier time, grip a horizontal bar, place your hands. All right, let's do grammar. Uh, I'm gonna call it good for now. Let's leave it. I like how it looks this way. That'll get you looking like me, and less like that diabetic pig. The diabetic pig he was referring to was a 6'8", morbidly obese man named Forrest. The kind of guy everyone made fun of and no one talked about. And no one talked to. I'd be lying if I didn't admit to doing a lot of half push-ups that night. I did a pretty good job of keeping up with my half push-ups for the first few days. The size of Gaucho's arms was fantastic motivation. I was on my third set of 40, arms burning, chest heaving, when a commotion took me out of the zone. 99% of the day in jail is incredibly routine, so when you hear a commotion, you jump to the door and see what's happening. What I saw was two COs making LeBron pack all of his stuff and move to a new cell out of our group. At first, I thought it might be because of the fight with Red, but if that was the case, they'd be taking them both to the hole, not just moving cells. I jumped on top of the toilet and called to Red through the vent. "Why are they moving LeBron?" Red responded, "We'll talk on our timeout." He clearly didn't want others to overhear. I tried not to seem too eager to find out what happened when talking with Red during our timeout. "So, what happened?" He was slow to respond. "After our little scuffle, I decided I wanted him out of our group." "Uh-huh. But I couldn't get in trouble for fighting, and I didn't want to be labeled a snitch." "Sure. So I convinced Autist to write a kite, telling the CEOs how LeBron had threatened him, and that did the trick. A kite is a message to the jail staff. I was surprised at the ingenuity and simplicity of the solution. Not only was he able to get rid of LeBron, but neither LeBron or the CEOs knew that he had done anything to do with getting him moved. I'd keep this lesson in the back of my mind for later use. See, I think I talk about kites in chapter 1. I don't know. I'll have to go over it again, double check. What's up, Sound Dragon? 2 hours of airport. Well, yippee-ki-yay. The best part of my day was my timeout, and how good or bad the people in my group were directly affected that time. So naturally, I made sure the unenjoyable people were moved to other groups or out of the pod entirely when feasible. One of the people I wasn't too sure about when he arrived was Tom, a skinny 18-year-old kid who was scared, missing home, and was constantly hiding in the tablet room during our entire 3 hours out. Funny enough, him taking out the tablet room went a long way towards making everyone hate him. With my ear pressed to the door, I could hear the pops and drops of the most basic trap music I'd ever heard. No, I didn't like Tom. The one thing he had going for him was having a hot mom. Guys would constantly walk behind him during video visits to get a good look at her. If Tom tried to play cards, the entire time would be spent asking for his mom's number. I think mom should be capitalized, because we're talking about a person, right? Mom's number. The one thing he had going for him was having a hot mom. Guys would constantly walk behind him during video visits to get a good look at her. If Tom tried to play cards, the entire time would be spent asking for his mom's number. Jackson eyed Tom with a slight smile. "Come on, you know I'd make a really good father figure in your life, and I'd be more gentle than these guys." I gave a laugh. "A small dick doesn't have to mean gentle, Jackson." Yes, Sound Dragon, it's a proofreading. This is actually chapter 2 of the survival guide. Making Friends is the name of the chapter. Specifically talking about what groups in jail are like, or what they're like, and their interactions with one another. So it's going through, the majority of the editing has already been done. This is a proofreading, making sure that everything's grammatically correct. So like mom's there, capitalizing it. Just a normal work day here for Author Altman. Stretch it out. I gave a laugh. A small dick doesn't have to mean gentle, Jackson. You know, wouldn't you? Replied Jackson. We all know your dick isn't why you're called big. Now, guys, interrupted Red, let's not lose sight that I'm built like a tuna can, which means that I have plenty of meat to squish and stuff into her. Turning to Tom, clearly I can best satisfy your mom. Again, we're talking about real person. Mom should be capitalized. I'll be your new stepdad in no time. You guys are assholes, said Tom as he walked off to the tablet room, leaving us to our undying laughter. Next scene. I was in my house playing rummy to 10,000 with Chuck when we heard a blubbering cry that brought us back both to the door. It was the giant diabetic pig Forrest, full on crying on the phone. He's dead, he stammered between sobs. Oh geez, that didn't sound good. It was odd watching such a mountain of a man sobbing so uncontrollably. When he was off the phone and calmed down a bit, LeBron, his new group mate, asked him what happened. LeBron immediately came by my house to spread the word. Apparently his dog Ozzy died today. Tom gave a loud laugh from next door. All that was over a dog? I gave a roll of the eyes, not thinking much of either Forrest or Tom. Later that night, Tom started into the vents. Bark, bark, yip, oh, Ozzy, oh, my poor Ozzy, bark, yip, whine. It got a few chuckles from around the pod, but for the most part it was silent. The night continued, with Tom giving a random bark every few minutes. I kept expecting Forrest to get into the vent and cuss Tom out. The next day, LeBron let me know that every time Tom barked. Speak, Trevor. Every time Tom barked, Forrest started crying again. Everyone knew the only reason Tom made fun of Forrest crying was because he felt impenetrable with a door between the two of them. Tom, our group's new door warrior. When everyone was locked down the next day, COs came by Forrest's door. I strained to hear what the CO was saying. Okay, what you reported is not a proper PRIA, okay? So I'm going to have to talk with him, but there's very little we can do, okay? The CO said okay a lot. Wait, Forrest put in a PRIA on someone? PRIA stands for Prison Rape Elimination Act. It's a piece of federal legislation put in place to help combat inmates raping each other. The legislation gives specific guidelines on how seriously rape allegations need to be taken in correctional facilities. Putting a PRIA in on someone is a big deal. The COs made their way to Tom's door. Okay, man, look. Don't go making fun of Forrest and his dog, and his dead dog, okay? Just act like adults and leave each other alone, okay? Okay, replied Tom. Reading this is just bringing back memories, guys. It's something else, let me tell you. Both of these guys were fucking weird. I couldn't believe the COs would be so blunt about it. There was no secrecy, and they just ensured Forrest would have to endure hell. As soon as the main pod door shut behind the COs, there were shouts all through the pod. A PRIA, Forrest, a PRIA. Snitch, snitch, snitches get stitches. I see you on the streets and I'm gonna fucking gut you. You're dead, you fat diabetic pig. The yelling and threats went on for a while. And Forrest just laid on his bunk, faced the wall, and cried. That night, and many nights following, someone would cry, Ozzy, or bark, and a chorus of barking, howling, or yipping would join the pack, mixed with laughter. After that, Forrest was a pariah. No one talked to him, and everyone made fun of him. The diabetic pig. Suddenly, Tom didn't seem quite so lame. I looked at Tom sitting at the card table. No way. I swear, Tom replied. Swear on your mother, said Jackson. Again, I think we should capitalize mother. I'll do anything on his mother, threw out Rod. Okay, so we still weren't above making fun of Tom. He was an easy target. Instead of comebacks, he just mostly turned a bright shade of red. I was pretty sure he'd brought a gun to school at least once in his life. Hang on, I gotta hear this one straight from the source, I said before putting up and making my way towards the new guy in 20 house. You only get left audio from the mic? Let's see. It should be both. Let me check here. Mixer. Audio box. Audio in. Device. Monitor off. Down mixed. Move. Sync. Timestamp. Global settings. Let's take a look here. Channels required to start. Stereo. Yeah, it should be in stereo. Mic auxiliary device. Interesting. I do see that it's only coming in on one side. Weird. Okay. I am using OBS. Yeah, I'm using Streamlabs OBS. It is weird. I'm going to probably watch some YouTube videos and I'll diagnose it once I'm done with this thing. I'm going to keep editing for now, but then I'll see if I can't make sure that the next live stream is stereo. It's weird because I specifically says in settings stereo. I chose stereo. So, and the actual mixer isn't panned to the left, so it should be fine. I'll diagnose it later. Stretch it out. Stretch it out. Hang on. I gotta hear this one straight from the source, I said before getting up and making my way towards the new guy in 20 house. I had to pass several of the druggies on my way there. The guy in 22 was pacing back and forth, swinging his arms crazily, scratching and picking at his face. I was not a fan of the meth heads. I'm gonna uncapitalize meth heads because I'm not talking about a specific person. Not using it as a title. Not using it in place of a name. I was not a fan of the meth heads. They were always so wiry, like a 2-year-old who can't stand still. Let's make that past tense. They were always so wiry, like a 2-year-old who couldn't stand still. They also had this habit of needing to speak, and what came out of their mouths lowered IQ points. They were so busy laughing at their own jokes that they didn't notice anyone else. It's like their brain was forever stuck in middle school boy mode, and with no hope of maturing. The next house was a heroin addict going through detox. The next house had... My goodness. Come on, Trevor. Past tense. The next house had a heroin addict going through detox. Poor guy was shivering up a storm in his bunk, laying in his own puke and shit. These were the druggies who never came out of their cells. They just laid there by themselves, suffering. I walked on, attempting to avoid conversation with either type of druggie. I had no sympathy for them. Anyone who's ever attended school knows what these drugs can do to you. In my mind, they brought this on themselves. As I got to 20 House, I tapped politely on the door. Didn't want to accidentally barge in on someone at their happiest and most vulnerable of times. I greeted him as he came to the door. "Hi, I heard you've got quite the story about how you got in here." A smile spread on his face. "Yeah, want to hear it?" A lot of guys are just excited to have someone to talk to when you drop by their house. Conversation breaks up boredom. I'd love to. So my buddy and I were desperate for cash. Druggy thing, I thought to myself. So we decided to hold up a 7-Eleven gas station. We put on some disguises, grabbed our pistols, and headed off in my van. This is where I started to smile. Now tell me about these disguises. We dressed up as cowboys. Story checks out so far, like the full getup. Oh yeah, we had hats and bandanas to hide our identity. We also wore boots and chaps, so it'd look more natural. Now these chaps, yeah, he asked. I stifled a laugh. Were they assless? He looked down, face turning red. Well, yeah, they were what we had available. Images of Magic Mike, closet closed, came to mind. Oh, Magic Mike's closet came to mind. I suppressed, not suppress. There we go. Fixed it. I suppressed my laughter. And how did holding up the 7-Eleven go? Oh, it went great. We came away with a little over $200. Only, after we got back in the van, we realized we were out of cigarettes. But since we now had this cash, we drove across the street to the Texaco. Bought a pack and some snacks. Why didn't you just steal those things while holding up the 7-Eleven? He gave a shrug. Hindsight's 20/20. But it's a 7-Eleven. At least snag a Slurpee. I'm not a big fan of Slurpees. Okay, so he was a sociopath. Anyways, they caught us across the street. You live, you learn. Yeah, but some of us have to learn less than others. I walked back to the table and confirmed for my friends that the chaps were indeed assless. 20 House would later get mad about everyone being up in his business, as he put it. He forgot that in the pod, if you tell one person... Hang on, I'm going to change that to... Yeah, that's better. He forgot that in the pod, if you tell one person something, you've just told everyone. When people don't have a lot to do, gossip flies fast. Other than gossip, people are always excited to hear about court. Red had just got back from court, and I couldn't wait to hear all about it. As I neared his house, I saw bloodshot eyes and a few tears in Red's cheeks. "Hey, Red," I greeted tentatively. "Hey, 400. Bad news?" He gave a sigh and cleared his nose. "You could say that." I let the silence drag, hoping he'd go on. He looked at me before turning his eyes back towards his rubber sandals. "I took a deal." "No way." 5 years. I was so shocked I didn't know what to say. As if reading my mind, he went on, "Look, man, I'm scared. My attorney asked me if I wanted to go to trial or take the deal. I said trial. He said, okay. Then he took out a coin. And said, heads, you go free. Tails, you go to prison for 15 years minimum, and you're on DOC for life. A 50-50 flip of the coin. That's what you're doing with your life by going to trial. By the way, this is not the first time I've heard this. Several attorneys have used this on their clients, and I think it's despicable. You're scaring your client out of trial because it's less work for you. At least that's how I feel about it. Well, him putting it like that really scared me. Also, taking the deal, I get a third off. This way, when I get out, my children will still be children. My wife will wait for 3 years. No way she'll wait 15. He looked at me with eyes full of sorrow. I've been here 7 months already, Big 4. I've been here 7 months already, Big Four. I need a change. Everyone says how much better prison is, and I need a change. I can feel myself going insane in here. I get it, man, I said as I left him alone, and I did. By taking the deal, Red was ensuring that he kept his life. If he lost by the time he got out, his life would be long gone. I had a 2-year-old daughter. I understood the fear of missing your kid's entire childhood. 7 months was a long time to be here in Max. I got what Red meant about going insane. I'd only been there 3 months, and I could feel its toll on my sanity. It's like they purposefully put people accused of Class A felonies in close custody, hoping it'll drive them to take a deal. If we could await our trial in the dorms, or at least with all the cell doors open and a microwave, maybe it'd be bearable. From the moment you walk through those doors, everyone is telling you to take a deal regardless of innocence. If you don't, you risk everything. Well, not me. I was going to fight the odds and prove my innocence. I'd win my freedom. Beep came from our house's speaker at an ungodly 6 a.m., followed by a high-pitched female voice. Roll up your stuff, Chuck. Make sure you're only wearing your uniform, no underwear. Haha, they were about to strip search him. I was still waking up as Chuck started to pack. Well, Trevor, it's time for me to go. It's been fun, but I'm glad to be headed to prison. Can't wait to settle into my mother institution. I got off my bunk and gave him a fist bump. I'm going to miss you, Chuck. You've been a great cellie. The COs came and got Red, too, and walked them both towards the pod door. I was gonna really miss my 2 friends. Without Red, my time out wouldn't be nearly as much fun. And with Chuck leaving, I couldn't help but worry about what my next cellie might be like. And that's the fear we all run, guys. It's crazy dumb that you could have the coolest guy as a cellmate, and then he leaves and you get some strung out junkie who's just going to shake and vomit all over the cell. I was overcome with a desire to give them some kind of send-off. I needed to think up a song that others could join in on. As soon as I popped into my head, I started to sing, my voice bursting through the crack in my house door. Just a small-town girl, living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. There was a few laughs and several other voices joined mine. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. Now everyone joined in as our 2 friends walked out the pod door with big smiles on their faces. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. As the pod door shut behind them, our pod broke out in thunderous applause. Yes, I felt a wave of satisfaction at giving my friends a decent send-off. Over the next year, many would come and go. None would have as great a goodbye as that. I couldn't help but wonder what my goodbye would be like. And that is the end of Chapter 2, Making Friends. So now that I've gone over it again, I will send it off to the editor and have them take a look-see. Let's start Chapter 3, Arts and Crafts. And we'll do a 150 so we can see it good as we read and edit. Chapter 3, Arts and Crafts. My next cellie was okay, but a tad boring and emotional. He liked to talk about his insecurities and fear of the future. Totally natural considering the circumstances. I listened to him thoughtfully, then proceeded to give him long, constructive, and thoughtful feedback. Actually, I just made fun of the guy. He was a pussy. It didn't take long for me to convince him to expect constant raping in prison. Because I'm not talking about a specific location, I don't think prison should be capitalized there. So let's take the capitalization out of prison. As he was rolling up his stuff to head off for his first time being raped, he said half-hearted goodbyes. He lifted He lifted up his mattress, and a comb with all the bristles torn off fell on the floor. Around the comb was a towel twisted tight. "What's that?" I asked. He looked at the ground, embarrassed. Well, that's my shank." That was not the answer I'd expected from this guy. "Why do you have a shank?" "To be honest, Big, you kind of scared me when I first got here." I just stared in disbelief until he went on. "Well, you're a bigger guy and kind of intense, especially when you're doing push-ups. If you tried to get at my asshole, I wouldn't stand a chance without a shank." And with that, the CEO opened the door, and my cellie was off to prison. Again, we'll take prison. Off to prison, leaving me staring at the shank on the floor. So many thoughts were popping into my head. I'd never be desperate enough to even touch a man, let alone rape one. How could he think that? I'm a way more handsome man than he is. If anyone had to worry about unwanted sexual advances, it was me. Scary? I'm not scary. Maybe a little excited during workouts, but I don't give off a violent tone and cold rapist vibe. I decided my cellie was simply a bad judge of character. As I picked up the comb shank, I realized just how effective it'd be. The hard plastic spike could do a decent amount of damage under the floating rib or to the side of the neck. The towel made for a great grip, too. The simplicity of its design was inspiring. I'd been thinking of ways to attach a razor blade from one of the disposable razors. The problem was actually getting a hold of one without a CO sending you to the hole. We only received razors twice a week, and the guards always checked that the razors were still attached. The toothbrushes were too small to create a good shank. A pencil was an obvious choice. They only gave us half pencils, but there were a few pencil extenders people made to make writing more comfortable. Making a pencil extender. The pencils we received in Max were all small golf size. They wanted to make sure we'd have a hard time stabbing each other. So, if you're going to be doing any amount of writing in the joint, a pencil extender is a must. 1. Wrap an envelope around 3 of the pencils until it's nice and tight. Then close it with the logo stickers. You can then slide the lead pencil in and out to be replaced as needed. If you'd like some added steadiness, you can fill the middle back of the pencil extender with toothpaste and let it harden. You can also mix toothpaste with toilet paper. Twist the toilet paper up nice and tight and let it harden in the pencil extender. Making a pen extender. Note the pen extender only has a good hold on the insert itself, not the cover. Use a razor blade to split a few of your pencils down the middle. Find 3 pencil halves that leave a good hold on the pen insert when placed around the insert. Leave a good hold on the pen insert when placed around. I don't like saying insert twice. Find 3 pencil halves that leave a good hold on the pencil insert when placed around it. Tape them in place and pack the back with your toilet paper and toothpaste mixture. Make sure you let the toilet paper harden in a nice hard twist at the top of the pen extender. Now you should be able to slide the pen insert in and out with ease. Warning: using the razor to cut things might be effective and give you a nice clean cut, but it can be risky. You only have 20 or so minutes before they come back around to collect them, and you need to be sure to pop the blade back in the plastic razor. It's very important. Note: if you're having a tough time splitting the pencils, look at the grain of the pencil and you'll be able to see where the 2 pieces of wood were glued together. That seems to be where you want to try and split it. You can also soak the pencil in water to soften up the wood and expand the target. Final tip: if you're having trouble splitting the pencil, you can use the sharp metal underside of the cell's table to shave the pencil down to the correct size. The pencil shank design I finally landed on required an envelope. Rip the envelope in half lengthwise. Lick the half an envelope, then wrap and seal it tight around a sharp pencil. You now have a 9-inch long stabbing weapon. The handle is a little slick, so for best use, put your thumb on the end so it can't slide and has no give when you stab. Aiming tip. Pencils seem to find eyes easily. I mean, really, like, it's like the little crevice here is just designed so that anything that is on this side will just slide into the eye. True story. Leprechaun came back to my door as I was scraping the bristles off of my comb back and forth across the metal lip of the desk until they broke off. What you doing? I looked up from my work. Making a comb shank? He gave me a laugh. Why? To see how easy it is. And it's something to do. I get it. It's boring in here. That's why I dipped my balls in glitter. I looked up from my work, wondering how he got glitter. His grin was ear to ear as he said, "It was pretty nuts." Oh, yeah. Haha, whoa. It may be boring as hell in jail, but we do laugh a lot. So how's it coming? Slow. The bristles don't want to come off. Why don't you saw them off? Saw. He gave me a surprised look. You don't know how to saw stuff in jail? You do? Of course. You learn a lot in prison. Leprechaun went on to explain how in prison, you saw through things by pulling a string back and forth. And where do you get the string? He rolled his eyes like he couldn't believe how stupid I was. From your clothes. Use a pencil and get into the seams. Won't that ruin them? What do you care? We get new uniforms twice a week. He had a point. As I started sawing through things, I was amazed how easily the string cut. My string went through rubber, wood, and plastic with ease. I thought about how perfect the shank could be made by sawing the hard plastic of our orange cups to a sharp point. But then I wouldn't have a cup. However, I didn't need the hard plastic soap container that came with the commissary soap. I decided that'd be my plan if I ever needed to really kill somebody. The most life-changing thing I sawed was my sandals. Each sandal had 5 rubber strips running over the top of the foot and attached with more rubber in the middle. Rubber doesn't breathe, and working out made my feet sweaty and stinky. Sawing off the 3 strips in the middle gave my feet the freedom to breathe. The next thing I started to saw were pencils. I was amazed how clean it cut the wood. You couldn't hardly tell that the 2 halves had once been a whole pencil. That gave me an idea. In Maximum, let's capitalize Maximum because it is a place. In Maximum, they didn't want us to have access to anything sharp. That meant we didn't have any way to sharpen our pencils, which seemed silly to me. How easy would it be to place one of those old school spin sharpeners you used to have in middle school on the wall in the tablet room? They were security cameras. They have security cameras and track everyone who enters and leaves the room anyway. But I digress. So instead of sharpening our pencils, we turned them into the COs. We'd give them our old pencils and they'd give us fresh sharp ones. Sometimes a CO would give you a hard time if he saw lead still on the end of your pencil. So just to be sure, I broke all my lead against the wall before turning them in. Couldn't complain if there weren't even the smallest bit of lead to see. Only sharp pencils for this guy. So what I decided to do was saw through one of my old pencils until I had 2 even halves. Most COs didn't really inspect all your pencils, especially when they were holding a handful of them. So I went up, said how many pencils I needed, and handed them all my pencils and get sharpened, including the 2 halves I sawed through. And it worked. They barely looked at them. To them, it was just 2 golf pencils that were extra short and used up. Pretty soon, I was turning in 10 halves of pencils every day. I'd discovered a way to get infinite pencils. In a matter of days, I had over 100 golf pencils. This was a game changer, guys. You have No idea. No idea. Having hundreds of pencils, crazy. Now, this might not sound like a big deal to you rich people, you guys out there, but to maximum security detainees, this was a big deal. This was a gold mine. I don't think that those should be capitalized. I'm talking about people, but not a specific person. But to maximum security detainees, this was a gold mine. Everyone needed pencils to write home, and no one liked writing with a dull pencil. Sometimes you couldn't... Hang on, I said pencils twice in that sentence. I don't like that. Everyone needed pencils to write home, and no one liked writing dull. Writing with a dull, instead of pencil, we're going to say instrument. And no one liked writing with a dull instrument. Sometimes you couldn't wait for your time out to get a fresh pencil. This was especially true for the artists who liked to draw all day. They always needed pencils, and were willing to pay for them. Soon I was supplying everyone with their pencil needs, and I was taking everything. And I was taking everything in trade. Soon I was supplying everyone with their pencil needs, and I was taking everything in trade. In a couple weeks, I had a surplus of every jail item known to man. There wasn't anything I was lacking. Chip bags, plastic trays, playing cards, shampoo, I had a surplus of them all. Once everyone knows you have everything, you're the one they come to make deals. I was the market center. And I loved the art of the deal. Here is where I'm going to insert my indigent commissary item list. I've got a lot of commissary lists to use. After I used the pencil trick and got all the random jail items I wanted, I got bored. It didn't take long to start finding hidden uses for things, or just putting stuff together to pass time. Note, pretty much everything in this chapter that I explain how to make is considered contraband. That means the COs throw the stuff away if they find them during their twice-a-month tossing of the cells. I still have yet to hear a decent reason for these creations being taken away. The only response the COs gave is, "You are not using the item for its intended purpose." Which is so dumb. I mean, who cares if you're using a soap container for soap or you're putting pencils in it? The showers at my facility were terrible. I'm not just talking about the small enclosed space, the short time water stayed on between button presses, or how it took forever to get warm. One of the worst parts of the showers was the lack of water pressure. Therefore, I feel it's my duty to explain how to make something to improve that pressure. A shower head. Making a shower head. Take an empty shampoo bottle and poke a hole in it with a pencil. The hole should be 1.5 inches from the bottom. Make sure you don't push the pencil too hard and accidentally puncture the other side of the bottle. After you have a good hole worked into the bottle, keep adding pencils to it until you have an opening that the shower spigot will fit inside. Don't make the hole too big. You want a tight hold. For our showers, the right size hole was 8 pencils big. Let the pencil sit in the hole for a day to allow the plastic to take hold of its new shape. Shove the hole over the spigot and you have a shower head, taking the sharp pokey water flakes and transforming them into a single concentrated waterfall of liquid. Pleasure. Liquid pleasure. The pleasure of liquid. An added bonus is that the water feels a lot warmer when it's in a single stream. The second way to make a shower head involves putting our string... Making an alternative shower head. The second way to make a shower head involves putting our string sawing technique to use. Take an empty indigent deodorant container and saw the top off. Take your time with a string so you get a clean cut. Now, add a second plastic deodorant base to the top of the lid you just cut. It should be solid fit. It should be a solid fit. But if you find the connection too loose, you can take off the deodorant logo stickers and reapply them to help hold it fast. If you haven't seen one of these containers before, they have a nice egg-shaped hole in the bottom of the base when the deodorant's removed. This hole is the perfect size to fit around the shower spigot. With the other egg-shaped hole, what does it want me to do here? Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Good catch. Good catch. Good job, writing program. For those of you who can't see, I'm patting the monitor. I think I want to buy a new monitor. I think I want a bigger monitor to my right side, and then I'll have 3 screens to work off of. Because there's so many times where I like to have music playing, and then I hear a song and I'm like, oh, who's this? And I just want to be able to look real quick. Yeah, first world problems, I know. With the other egg-shaped hole in the other side, you get a concentrated stream of water. Compared to the bottle shower head, you have more of a shower-like stream of water and less like a garden hose. You also have more control, being able to rotate the egg-shaped hole and put it in different directions. Let's change point to aim. That sounds better. Being able to rotate the egg-shaped hole and aim it in different directions. Note, if you're bigger and don't like standing so close to the shower wall, you can keep cutting and adding deodorant containers until you get a shower head that's a comfortable length. I looked up from my book to find an old Mexican man knocking at my door. This was a normal occurrence, since most were told to see me about items they needed, but this was the first time I'd spoken to the Mexican grandpa. He greeted me with a smile as he spoke. You Bang Bang Cream? Ooh, that sounded kind of Asian. I'll have to work on that accent. Huh. There was clearly a few setbacks to being the guy people came to for stuff. I had to stumble through awkward interactions. At least this guy wasn't an annoying level of retarded druggie. He tried slowing down and using gestures. You, he pointed at me. Bang Bang Cream? He said as he slid his hand up and down in a jerking off motion. Oh, I couldn't help but smile. I went to my desk and grabbed the petroleum jelly. His head went up and down with a jolly look. I'd seen commissary delivered to him, so I asked, coffee? And to my surprise, he slid coffee under my door. Thus began the greatest trade deal ever. I'd slide him Bang Bang Cream, everyone got for free, and he'd slide me heavenly coffee. This was a deal I'd definitely keep secret. I was curious how such an old man could get through so much Bang Bang. How such an old man could go through so much Bang Bang Cream. Some questions are better left unanswered. Next scene. One thing you get plenty of in jail is soap. Okay, I'm going to say because we're not talking about a specific jail, that should be not capitalized. Anytime you ask a CEO for some at the pod door or during meals, he gives you 2 little hotel-sized bars. It only came natural to slide the soap bars out under my door. Soon I was getting the angles down to ricochet them off the hall wall and into the cell along my same wall, or slide them at an extreme left angle to glide right into 27 house along the other wall. Every so often, a CO might come along and yell at us to stop making a mess if a bunch of soap missed their mark and started to pile up. But with no way for him to know who was sliding the soap, no one ever got in trouble. With Jackson in 27 House, we got really good at sliding soap back and forth. It was our own game of jailhouse catch. This skill of ours came in handy once we discovered what the old school gangsters referred to as fishing. How to fish. Take a pencil to the seam of your pants and get as much orange string as you can, because it's time to go fishing. After you have as much fishing line as you'd like, you have to find something with weight that slides well across the floor and is small enough to fit under cell doors, the little pocket Bibles, but I found the jail soaps to be most effective. Using a pencil, work a small hole into the center of the soap. Tie off your fishing line into the hole, and you're ready to start tossing your line down the hall. I even had lines running through the upper metal grate down to the houses below. Hardest part of fishing was having to clean up the lines before the COs came for their hourly walkthrough. Don't ask me why. For some reason, every CO was a dick about fishing. They pulled on our lines until they snapped, yelled at us, and threatened to write us up. Fact is, I got threatened with being written up so many times, I decided the COs must be afraid of actually having to fill out paperwork. That's true, guys. It's one of those things that you just they never worried about it. They never cared. But they still yelled at you and threatened you like they were going to do something about it. But they never actually did, because they're all a bunch of lazy fucks. But that's just my personal opinion. I'll stretch it out. By wrapping the line around chip bags, we were able to pass pretty much anything from house to house. I was sitting at my desk, writing my thoughts, hopes, and dreams, when a little piece of paper came sliding under my door from Jackson. Him and his cellie were playing trivia with me, and I kicked their asses, so we switched to Hangman. So yeah, the Hangman was clearly dead. He wrote, "God damn it, Trevor. Is this one of your fake nerd words?" I wrote back, "Nope. I'm just way smarter than the two of you put together. I just proven that by guessing beloved pencils in 6 guesses." They responded, "Give us a hint." I wrote, "Okay. You use it and it's in your cell every day." They guessed G next, so I told them to search their house. I got back, "You damn dirty Jewfro. You sneaky, sneaky little asshole. Fresh scent? Our shampoo? Really?" I went to the door laughing. "Finally figured it out." Jackson yelled back, "That wasn't even clever, Trevor." But I felt clever. We'd go on passing each other notes and playing games for months. I may very well have become the world's best soap slider. Ha ha. Take that, every guy ever. Best soap slider. Panda came by my door not long after, looking to trade a few bags of peanuts for an XXXL shirt. Hey, we got 5 viewers in here. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure to share with the friends who you think might find it interesting. I didn't just have a t-shirt to give him. Certainly not an XXX size. XXX size. Luckily, it had been a while since I'd messaged the chaplain. Now, being in Maximum, we are talking about a specific place, so I'm going to capitalize that. Now, being in Maximum, we weren't allowed to attend any type of church service, which is funny, since these inmates seemed like the ones who needed God the most. But the chaplain was still ready to supply those detained with socks, underwear, and plain white t-shirts, so long as they were indigent. The chaplain is an underutilized resource that I suggest all inmates take full advantage of. Soon, Panda had his t-shirt, and I had bags and bags of deliciously salty peanuts. It wasn't until I went to message the chaplain that I understood why the book boxes were always full of King James Bibles. It's because people want to read a Bible in jail and request one on the tablet. The tablet had the default Bible as King James. These guys don't know what type of Bible they want. Most have never even opened the good book. Jackson Sully told me he didn't feel like he was smart enough to be a Christian, that he couldn't understand the Bible. Well, it was no wonder he thought all Christians had to be brain surgeons. Anyone who's read King James knows how hard it is to grasp. I ordered myself a New Living Translation, or NLT, and told everyone else who hadn't ordered a Bible yet to do the same. I couldn't wait to pass them out. I then gave the New Living Translation Bible to Jackson's roommate and wrote in it, "If you don't know where to start reading, I suggest Matthew. And remember, a proverb a day keeps the devil away." Some good old little bit of rhyme. I'm proud to say that the pod was flooded with NLT Bibles, and that Jackson Sully read the Bible I gave him for the whole 16 months that we were in the same pod. That right there, that's the first time I mentioned how long we're going to be in the pod together, and that is a crazy number. 16 months in the same pod. I was always available when he or anyone else had biblical questions. The fact that there was zero religious counsel or support to max security detainees was staggering. Yo, big 400. Should max be capitalized? Max security is a place. The fact that there was zero religious counsel or support to max security detainees was staggering. Yeah, but I'm using it as an adjective to describe the detainees. I'm not going to capitalize it. Yo, big 400. It was an overly nice heroin dealer and murderer who made too many sexual innuendos to not be at least bisexual. Most everyone took to calling him Gay J. "Hey," I shouted back through the vent. "Do you remember how the Monopoly board is set up?" I thought for a second. I can probably figure it out. Cool. We're going to put one together to play during our timeout. Sweet. I called the race car. Make whatever you want for your game piece. In no time, we had the board layout and prices guesstimated to close approximations. The board was made with 2 pieces of paper, and we tore up paper into squares for the property, cards, and money. I set to creating my own race car. My race car. Using an eraser as the body, I took sharp lead pieces and pushed them into the eraser. 4 for the tires and 1 for a cool spike at the front of my car. I then drew epic racing stripes and a window on the eraser, finishing with a few flames drawn on the back. Gramps said my eraser looked like a pig, but no, it was clearly an awesome race car. Hey guys, I am getting a little parched and I run out of water, so I'm going to go grab some more water. Be back in just a minute. Do 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 do. I like that song. It's a fun song. Fun little background song for the waiting period as I refill my drink and get myself back and ready to go. Okay. Monopoly soon fed into us creating Risk and Backgammon. It was just fun to get away from the normal card games we'd been playing for every day. It also gave us a fun art project to occupy our time. It's a shame inmates don't have access to any art or hobby supplies like they do in prison. Detainees would love to be creative. Again, we're not talking about a specific prison, so I'm going to decapitalize that. Unfortunately, my little piggy race car didn't survive long before a CO took him and threw him away. I was so mad. When I asked why he was being disposed of so unceremoniously, the CO replied, I wasn't using the eraser for its intended purpose. It's like if anything is mildly entertaining, the corrections staff felt the need to put a stop to it. They got joy from their power trips and adding to our suffering. My little piggy race car never hurt anyone. And I want to make that very clear. Piggy race car was it was just senseless. It was why was this being taken away from me? And it's stupid now, right? I mean look around. Look at all this cool shit I have on the walls, right? But back then it was like, you know, it was this thing that I had and I had latched onto and I had emotional attachment to. Anyway. Hey, Big, sorry about your pig, said Leprechaun as I approached. It's whatever, I said, trying not to sound like it was affecting me. Mexican Grandpa grunted in his primitive language, waving his arms around behind his door. Leprechaun translated. He feels your pain. They said he had too much masturbation jelly, so they took half his supply along with half his paper and envelopes. I responded, why would masturbation jelly? Why would they take half of something we're given? Leprechaun and Mexican Grandpa grunted at each other before Leprechaun responded in the Lord's language, English. They said he had more than is allowed. That's not in the manual, I said. I swear, some of the COs just make up rules to ruin our day. Not much can do, Mexican Grandpa replied. Not much can do. Leprechaun spoke after a moment of silence. Hey, Trevor, might be a good one to test our showerhead designs. Turning to me, he went on. Tell us which showerhead you like better. It was something to do, and I was kind of curious, so I agreed. The showerheads wouldn't fit under the door, so they got them to me the same way we passed anything that wouldn't fit under our doors. First, they hid them in the shower right before they were locked back up. Then a house mouse snagged it while they were cleaning and held onto it until the meal right before it was my time out. When the house mouse would rehide it in the shower. Hang on. Then a house mouse snagged it while they were cleaning and held onto it until the meal right before it was my time out. When the house mouses would rehide it in the shower. There we go. With the door closed, the COs never checked the showers. I returned to Leprechaun and Mexican Grandpa after another long, gratifying shower, feeling 3 pounds lighter. So, began Leprechaun, what did you think? I faced him head on. I'd already thought about what I was going to say. How do you spell leprechaun? He thought a moment before responding. Leprechaun. I'd expect you to be the one who knew how to spell it, because that's what you are. Fuck you. I am not that short. You might as well be a midget. I'm 5'5", an excellent midget height. Fuck you. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. It lets you use shower heads that stick straight down 5 inches, while the same shower head forces vertically normal people, like myself, to bend at unnatural angles. After a second, he gave a laugh. Hadn't thought of that. I went on and put the shower head back in the shower. Jackson came over to me and struck up a conversation. What was that about? Mexican Grandpa and Leprechaun needed someone to judge whose showerhead was better. Why do you call him that? Because that's what you call an Irish midget. Not him, Tata. Why do you call Tata Mexican Grandpa? I was told Tata meant grandfather. He stared at me like I was the stupidest person alive. It does. Well, actually, father. It's Filipino. You sure it's not Mexican? No, it's not Spanish. Because he looks Mexican. No, he doesn't. He looks Filipino, not Latino. I said thoughtfully. His eyes look more Mexican. He could be a mix. I'll start calling him Filipino. That's a good mixed Filipino and Mexican name. How is that in any way Spanish? Because of the pepper. He looked at me with a raised brow until I explained. You know, Filipino, like jalapeno. He's hot like a pepper. Oh my God. Peppers, what? Peppers are very Spanish. He walked away, shaking his head. The important thing is, I think I'm funny. In close custody, you entertain yourself. Clearly, he doesn't understand how closely Asian... see, right there. We caught one, guys. It's not doesn't, it's didn't. It's past tense. Clearly, he didn't understand how closely Asian and Latin cultures are related. We're related? Are related? We're related. Clearly, he didn't understand how closely Asian and Latin cultures were related. Plus, Tata really did look Spanish. All short, brown, and wrinkly. It's not like he came with a label on his forehead. Oh well, lesson learned. From then on, I referred to him by his proper name, Filipino. During my detained time, I made a lot of arts and crafts contraband. Here are some of my favorites. Let's turn that into a new scene. A new scene. During my detained time, I made a lot of arts and crafts contraband. Here are some of my favorites. A. Making a sink spigot. A water spigot can be a nice addition to your sink, transforming it into a drinking fountain, letting you spray the water in whatever direction you want, and increasing the water pressure. For this one, you're going to need one of the soft plastic gel pens. Not the actual insert, just the soft outer plastic and the cap. I saw through the closed end of the tube, so you have a perfect hole in both ends of water to easily pass through. Now take the soft plastic cap and bite a small hole through it, the top of it. It's not big enough for you to saw through. Take the cap and jam the top of it into the sink spigot until it's far enough in to be a tight hold. And the tube to the cap and the water should run smoothly through it. You can now bend that tube to get the water wherever you'd like. You can also bend it far enough to increase the water pressure to the desired level. Once you get the tube in the desired position, tie the tube to itself with your string to hold the bend in place. You can now comfortably drink from the sink or shoot the water across the room as you'd like. Making a toothbrush holder. Take an empty deodorant container, put it upside down, and put your toothbrush handle in the little egg-shaped hole. The container is the perfect size for your little mini toothbrush. 1, 2. Bum, 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 bum. Organizational dividers. Some of the cookies bought off commissary came in plastic trays that made for perfect dividers. For us, the cookies were duplex. I traded for these plastic trays and used them to organize and hold everything: pencils, erasers, dominoes, chess pieces, juice packets, condiments, and medicine, all nicely organized on my desk and in my cubby. Note, I found if CEOs saw that things were organized, they were less likely to mess with them. Some people also took the logo stickers off their stuff and used them to tape old playing cards into bigger and taller dividers. I've also seen this done with envelopes, or if someone is good at origami, they can use the normal paper to make different sizes of paper boxes. I, however, never became a black belt in origami. Making a jail cup. If you're like me, you find the orange plastic cup that they gave inmates annoyingly small. Here's how you make a bigger one. Take 2 chip bags and place one inside the other. Make sure they're both nice and cleaned out. Afterwards, shape the bags into a circular cup shape. Take the logo stickers and start taping them around the bag for support. Make sure you tape the rim of the bag back next, followed by the bottom of the bag, smoothing as you go to ensure a nice flat surface. You should now have a nice large cup to drink from that you won't have to refill every 3 damn swallows. Yeah. In Maximum, where I was, we weren't allowed to have dice. We had dominoes, but no dice. I'm guessing they were worried we might swallow them. There are 2 good ways for making dice while in Max. And one of them is pretty simple. The universal number 2 pencils they give out are 6-sided. So just break one in half and add the numbers 1 through 6 in each side with another pencil. Now you're ready to start rolling. Yeah, that's not bad. 1 through 6 instead of in, it's on each size. Size. So just break one in half and add the numbers 1 through 6 on each side with another pencil. There we go. Now you're ready to start rolling. E1, alternative dice. The other option will leave you with dice that look a little more traditional. Take 2 pieces of soap and stick them together with some toothpaste. Wait several hours for the paste to harden. Now take a pencil and carve the soap away from the edges until you're left with a good size square. Now take a pencil and carve the soap away from the edges until you're left with a good size square. Once you're satisfied with the shape, cover the entire square in a decent coat of toothpaste, molding it into a semi-smooth surface on every side. Again, let the dice sit for several hours to get the paste hard. Now it's time to carve away any excess paste and put the number dots on each side of the dice. You're now ready to play 10,000, 456, or even Dungeons & Dragons. F. Earplugs. The soft rubber from your sandals made for excellent earplugs. Just work a pencil around it in a circle across the bottom of the sandal until the rubber cylinder falls out. Now put it in your ears. Alternative earplugs. The other option is to simply squish an eraser into your ears. Other item uses. Chip bags. Chip bags are the lifeblood Chip bags are the lifeblood of saving, storing, and trading food. Wash them out after every use and let them dry overnight. Keep them clean. No one likes receiving a moldy chip bag. Keep them clean. Yeah, it's better. Graphite pencils are terrible, but the normal ones work great to jam into your cell door to keep it from clanging when the COs check its lock by pulling on the handle every hour. Every cell has 2 air vents, one to send and one to receive. Feel which one is blowing into your cell and put toothpaste around the edges of it to make your house smell minty fresh. Deodorant temperature control. You can use that same vent to regulate the temperature of your cell. Take a deodorant stick and rub it over the vent, filling up the little holes with the deodorant jelly. You'll be amazed at how much warmer the small space gets without the cool air flowing. If you find you need more airflow, you can always open the holes back up with a pencil or pen insert. Be warned, the free gel deodorant will make your cell smell like pencil shavings for a little bit. Yeah, that's true. Pencil shaving, smelling deodorant. They don't put that in the brochure. Simple pencil cushion. Tear the top off 2 or 3 erasers and slide them over your pencil to cushion it against your fingers. That's a useful one. Salt and pepper shakers. Clean out a shampoo bottle and puncture a few small holes in the lid. Fill, shake, and enjoy. Liquid soap. Clean out a shampoo bottle. Mix with water and flakes of your hand soap. I found it useful for cleaning out my chip bags, especially the jalapeno chips that you really don't want flavoring left behind. Personal laundry. Why on earth do you need to wake up at 8 a.m. on Thursdays and 11 p.m. on Sundays? Again, ruining our sleep schedule. Just do the laundry yourself and sleep in. Personal laundry. Why on earth do you... Why on earth did they need to wake us up at 8 a.m. on Thursdays and 11 p.m. on Sundays to do laundry? Again, ruining our sleep schedule. Again, they enjoyed finding ways to ruin our sleep schedule. I decided to simply do the laundry myself and sleep in. Using the sink with some of your new liquid soap, leave your clothes soaking. To do personal laundry, use the sink with some of your new liquid soap. Leave your clothes soaking before letting them dry, and you're good to go. Alternatively, I also took a shower with my clothes on from time to time for easy do-it-yourself laundry. Kind of gross, very true. If you don't trust others to wash your clothes, there's no chance of them getting stolen or lost. That happened all the time. And that is the end of Chapter 3, Arts and Crafts, in the Declassified Maximum Security Survival Guide. Alright, guys. Now that that is done, I'm going to call it for a bit. I probably won't live stream again today, but I will tomorrow at 10 a.m., as it were. 10 a.m. and I believe again at 2 p.m. tomorrow. And I'll be going through chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8. I hope you're all enjoying this as I'm going through and proofreading the chapters. If you are and you know somebody else who might, please share it with others, link it up. And as always, have a fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy what you do. Don't work too hard. That's such dumb advice. Don't work too hard. No, work hard. Work as hard as you want to. Achievement requires sacrifice, people.